Welcome to another episode of Sri Lankan Cricket Podcast. My name is Vida and I'm joined by my co-host Sohan. He's fresh from a T20 flag. How are you doing, Bora?
Yeah, good. How do I say it? Yeah, was a good result for the club I'm playing for. We managed to bring home a T20 medal for the club. So it was an exciting weekend for us. And now here recording the podcast about Sri Lanka's performance in India. So mixed feelings, but maybe we can touch base on a few areas where I think we dropped the ball on this series. But yeah, let's cover a lot of the topics as we go along.
Yeah, we'll talk about the Sri Lanka-India T20 series, which India won 3-0. Then we'll talk about Test series, which will start end of this week, and a few other topics that's been happening around the world. And we'll answer a few questions as well. Let's start with the T20 series in India. It was not the ideal series for Sri Lanka because we were missing few of our key players in this series, Bora, mainly through to injury. Playing India in India is a tough challenge, and we ended up losing 3-0.
The big issue we had this series was the players not being available, and the players who were missing form was the main nucleus of the team that we've been building over the past year. Injuries on unfortunate, COVID, and again if you add Banuku into that's a fitness area as well. So, but if you talk about the players, Vanidu, Mahesh, Tikshana with the ball, that's our two main spinners. Avishka, who was, he was the middle order batsman that we formed or to have him in the setup. He did struggle, but he was one of those key players we had. And then Kusal Mendes, who made a brief return and had a good series in Australia, he was unavailable, along with Banuka, who, from what we hear from the media, didn't meet the fitness standards. So that's 5 key players that we are missing. So going into India without 5 players in a T20 tournament, we are pushing above our weight to compete with them, and we kind of saw the difference, how India were pretty much coasting, and they won convincingly, whereas in Australia, like we said, look, Australians didn't score the high 180s to 200 scores, whereas India was pretty much pushing the score. They chased
200.
They pushed 200. So that was a lot to do with, I think, because of our players and key players who played parts of certain stages of the game not being available didn't help us. The only plus point I could see coming out of this series would be Dasun's batting. He was under the pump with his spot being, under a bit of a spotlight. How come he's not batting or bowling? Well, this is what he did when everyone else is not performing. He stood up and performed really well. That's how I saw it.
2 highlights of this series was one, it was Dasun Shanaga's 2 innings in the second T20 and the last T20. IPL franchises must be scratching their heads and thinking why we didn't bid to get this guy into our team. And the other guy who has done well with the bat was Pathum Nissanka. He scored a good inning there. He looked really good. He played some brilliant shots using the pace of the ball, and some of the shots he played against Bumrah was unbelievable. And but once again, in our middle order, we failed to deliver. One guy we have to think about going forward is Chandimal, Bora. He has done enough, and the injuries to other players has given him another chance to come into a T20 team, but his record, it doesn't suit T20 cricket. He has played nearly 70 matches and he's scoring at a strike rate of 100. That's okay if he is batting through the innings and get us to victories, but that's not happening. So I think we'll have to look for other options. We gave a chance to Janit Lienege and Kamil Mishara in these games, but they didn't really make a big impression. That's the thing. I think Chandimal's time as a T20 batsman, I think it's time for him to concentrate in the long format of the game.
I think that's fair as a fair assessment. I think, going into this series, if he had all our players available, Chandimal might have not played. That's my observation. But having said that, he got an opportunity because he was the next in line in the players. As a batsman or wicketkeeper or whatnot to be picked, but fell short of coming back with the goods. I know a couple of when he made this, how do I say it, when he made his comeback into the national setup through the LPL, where you could hear moments where look, he's found my own old form back of it in the ball, or being able to be bat more aggressively. But unfortunately, when getting tested at an international stage, we couldn't see that flow of batting. Of course, the LPL and even certain domestic games has a contrast, and moments and positions that he played had a contrast in situation to how he batted out in India. So unfortunately, it's one of those tough calls that you need to make. I think you need to look past Chandimal in this format simply because of Steve Smith is pretty much his career's over for Australia as well in the T20 format. That's the feeling that we have around here. But Chandimal, again, it's an easy one decision to make by keeping him out. And if at all we don't play a lot of T20 international cricket, but if there are opportunities, it's time to look at what are the options. Kamil Mishara looks good, but he's a keeper, left-hand bat. I think left-handers have a good spot in the top order. I don't need to talk about his record that is being discussed, but not many get a chance to play even 50 T20 internationals for their country. It's having played 70, that's equal to be one of the should be almost one of their top performing players. I remember Faf du Plessis from South Africa, was almost South African captain. He was saying he was really proud when he got to 50 T20 internationals because of the limited amount of matches that were being played. At one stage, you would play only 1 or 2 T20s in a series, whereas there's franchise cricket. So they valued that limited chances they got to play for their country, and they look back on their record saying, look, they probably have achieved a lot more. So when you think about that and think about the number of games that has been played, I think it doesn't justify the games you have played to the performance it's showing. I'm sure he's not happy with the performance he's been able to put out as well. He's a fierce competitor and he'll obviously want to be able to perform at the top stage, but hasn't been able to deliver, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think it's time for us to look elsewhere, Bora. It's simple as that for me. I think our bowling is pretty much settled till the World Cup. I think we'll have to stick to the players we are going to play in the World Cup. So, Bhanuka is a guy who can come into the middle order, but he'll have to prove his fitness first. And I don't know, Promo. I don't mind Promo there sticking to his guns, because you have to maintain certain standards to play international cricket. And so Bhanuka has to sort out his fitness issues if he wants to grab that place in the middle order. There is a place for him to just walk in if you just have to prove his fitness.
Remember, there was a guy who could, walk into a spot at this moment. It's Bhanuka Rajapaksa with the, talent or what he's capable of performing. the slight disconnect I feel is I don't think it's a hard, fast line where you say you need to meet the deadline of time target set. I'm pretty sure there is a tolerance levels between players,
Mm.
and depending on each circumstances that there's a small slight variance that is available for players to achieve. What we see it is the I guess the approach of not being able to meet or compete and see where things are. That's how I feel it's happening. So and this has been it's the fitness has been an aspect over the last 2 years. So it's almost a driven one that look, it's we are building over a period of time. Again, this is one guy who said I've seen benefits of being fitter and being able to perform much better because I'm more fit. So it almost has to become a lifestyle, not be I achieved it for one short period and then suddenly
Mm.
no, I can't do this. And we seem to be a complete U-turn into that side of things. So either that it was just a comment made in the media just to feel good or show something else, or was made in or with made with a feeling that there is a definite difference in performance because of being fit. So
Mm.
we've got the next series to see if he achieves that
Yeah,
fitness to see where things are at.
yeah. Let's move on to bowling, Bora. Chamira. Chamira has Rohit Sharma in his pocket. He has got him out 6 times so far in his career.
Yeah,
Chamira and Lahir Kumar, they're bowling well at the moment. It's a shame that we didn't have Vanidu and Mahesh to support them. Otherwise, if those two were there, we could have at least won one of those games. But how good is Shreyas Iyer, and the depth in Indian cricket it's
yeah,
unbelievable. Like I mean, that last game they completely changed their bowling attack, and
yeah.
they still got us what, 4 down for 20 or something.
Yeah, it's been a massive observation with India's depth in cricket, hasn't it? And they seem to be, again, it shows how strong the franchise tournament of the IPL is, that players seem to be able to develop and learn and compete amongst themselves to reach next level. So um, it's getting scarier by the minute because it's
Mm.
almost at a stage where India can field two teams in the international circuit and be competing very strongly. So that's the cricket they've taken, or the level of cricket they've taken the game up to. Again, those players have been strong performers from the IPL. Shreyas Iyer, Venkatesh Iyer is
Yeah,
another
Venki,
round. I
Venki
think
Iyer, yeah.
and Sanju Samson. Now we've seen so many good innings he played for the Royals. They're strong. That's all we can say. And observation for us: could we have competed or be able to compete? For us to do that, we needed that five players. That's
Mm.
our best. That's our best set of players we have. No one
Yeah.
else out of it would come in. You
Mm.
probably could add Angelo Matthews, but he's been out of the T20 circuit for a long time. So it's almost you need to see whether he can move at a high frequency T20 competition, rather whether he'll be able to keep up to speed on it.
He was starting to, get into the top
Yeah,
gear in the LPL, then he got injured again.
yeah,
So yeah, I think there's still time, in my opinion. I still
yeah,
think he can come into this team as a
yeah,
just as a batsman. I think that's a good segue to move on to the Test series, Bora. I think it starts on Friday in Mohali. That's Virat
yeah,
Kohli's 100th Test match,
yeah,
and it's the last series for Suranga Lakmal. He's hanging up his boots after this series, and Sri Lanka haven't won a Test match in India. So
yeah,
will this be the series where we win a Test in India? So first Test is in Mohali, and the second one is in Bangalore.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll just just go through some numbers here before we go into India's record. at home since 2013. They've played 40 test matches, won 32, lost only 2 matches, 6 drawn games. So it's a tough challenge. But if you can pull it off, because it's a two test series, Bora.
Well, if we win one, it's almost 100% improvement on our results over there. We've never won a test there. So that's with our Muralis to Sangas, Mahelas to, our peak
Aravinders.
teams. We went there, we couldn't do anything. So we've, I think, played a couple of drawn tests. That's as far as I remember. It's going to be a tough task. Again, coming back into Kohli's 100 tests, he's been a massive performer for India, but it seems he's also having a falling off between the Indian cricket board these days. So sometimes you can't be bigger than the game, or you have to, work with the governing body to follow through. I don't know exactly what's happening there or not, but you tend to hear a lot of whispers happening in the circuits that there is a slight disconnect between him and the board. Again, he's changed Indian cricket to a certain stage where they require, but you got some pretty big egos or hot players in seats now, so you never know whether that's something that's playing up. But again, he's been a massive performer. I was reading, as a captain, he's scored 7 double hundreds as a batsman, and I think the next closest is 4 or 5, I don't know. So he'll want to finish on a high. He's probably battling inside himself or trying to motivate himself to perform. He's achieved a lot in a very short span of time. At one stage, when he was playing one-day cricket, I think he was scoring 100 every 5 one-day matches or some crazy record like that. Test cricket, for us going out there, it's not going to be easy. We're playing against the best players of spin. Like Virat Kohli is hitting out 100 test, and it's going to be a bit of celebration for him. We've got a player who's done a lot of hard work for us. Has been a workhorse in Suranga Lakmal. I see he's signing out of his career as well. So he seemed to be the first guy. Mickey Harter has signed up to play for county cricket. So I'm sure Suranga will still want to perform well. He's managed to sneak in fifers at most of the countries he's traveled. So if he can achieve a fifer in India, I'm sure he'll take it on and enjoy that massively. So those are some of the matchups. We'd like to see how those guys go. Looks probably will play Suranga, Dushmanta Chamira, Ambul Denia, and let's probably try to get another off spinner in. Shane Daniels probably going to travel there, I hear. So
I'm not sure. Ramesh Mendis, I don't know whether he has recovered from his finger injury. So,
he had a crooked finger, so it's going to be a massive one. And if it's a spinning finger, don't know how quickly he'll recover from it. So something to think of, unless they go with 2 left-arm spinners in Praveen Jayavikrama and So we'll wait to see the combination. I think from a coaching background, I saw Avishkar's on the flight there to India as well. So he'll probably put his input from a batting or be an assistant coach to be part of it. Don't know if it's something that we will see with a assignment of a coach being appointed through him. But nonetheless, it's good. I'm sure he'll be excited to be part of a national setup in a coaching capacity.
Yeah. He's been working with most of these youngsters for us. So maybe that's one reason why they chose to send him there. It's a huge challenge for us to pull off a victory. But talking about Virat Kohli, last time, his last 4 innings, I think he has scored 2 double hundreds against us. So that's not good news. Maybe he's eyeing that 100 he hasn't scored for 2 years. Maybe he waited till he play his 100th test to get that 100. And he's as you said, like he's been in the news for the last few months for different reasons, and I'm sure he'll come out with a statement because he's definitely India's best batsman. So it's just a matter of time where he'll come out and play a big innings. So I hope it's not against us.
I love looking at charts and getting signs of what can happen. And a batter of his class have had too many lows in a batting period that it's gonna bound to the floodgates are going to open, and there's going to be some massive scores that he'll probably looking to cash in. So Sri Lanka will be very wary of that. And Kohli again is too good of a player to miss out for such a long period. I guess whilst we continue to assess the series Sri Lanka or tough tour that we are in, I'd like to probably venture out into some of the other series that are happening with I think Australia in Pakistan for some monumental series.
Yeah, they're playing in Rawalpindi. So first test match is in Rawalpindi.
Looks a road. I saw the picture of it. It's gonna be a massive batter's paradise heat.
Yeah, and New Zealand, South Africa series ended in a draw, 1-1. And Women's Cricket World Cup starts this Friday in New Zealand. Yeah, so it's only 8 teams, Bora. Sri Lanka missed out. They had to call off the qualifiers in Zimbabwe, so we had to miss out.
Yeah, unlucky. In England are in the West Indies. They've got that two happening without the big two of Broad and Anderson. So plenty of international cricket happening, which is good to keep your eyes on different parts of the world. Means you probably can from morning till late watch games of cricket happening. So I guess for Sri Lanka's point of view, the T20 campaign, unfortunate, was a big roadblock in this team's development in India, especially with the players missing out. But something for these guys to go home, settle down. Because if you look at this team, we've got 5 key players that we keep playing around. So they need to have them fit and running come November. So that'll be something for the guys to manage around it. And then now some of the test players, I mean, they'll be all fresh. They haven't played much cricket for a while, so they'll be wanting to go ahead. Vimuth Thiri would be back into that squad 11, playing 11 as well. He was out in Melbourne for some time. Angie is traveling out as well. It'll be good to see how he is shaping up. So exciting for Sri Lanka cricket for us. I mean, for us, we get to watch more games. Sri Lanka play, the better. It's a good result.
Yeah, just want to wrap up about the T20 series because you mentioned it, Bora. We are starting to see a few spot fires coming up because we are not winning games. We didn't have that for some time because everybody knew, we were not expected to win games for the last few months. And now that we have a team where we can compete against good teams, I'm starting to see criticisms and, we should bring this guy in, we should sack this guy, and, all these things starting to pop up. So, it's going to be interesting how we go into the build-up of the World Cup. But
exactly right. I think I do sense that feeling as well. Questions being asked of I guess MJ is in the hot seat these days with because he's pretty much trying to guide Sri Lanka. He's at he had a sinking ship. He managed to get it up floating for a bit and trying to steer them into clear waters, or at least he's probably trying to get it there. There seems to be more water coming into the ship, so could be through social media, could be through certain different avenues, but again, that's where
print media. So few
Yeah, print
articles.
media as well. Exactly right. So I'm sure there are different agendas going around or whatnot, but end of the day, if we want Sri Lanka cricket to come out and be able, we are not going to go through choppy waters, and we've all discussed about things changing every turn that we tend to change and try to assess. At least a good thing is this has been a consistent set of plans that has been in place and seem to be trying to hurdle through to get to us to a certain stage. So that's part of leadership as well. He's not going to be pleasing everyone. He's got to make decisions that are made in the best interest of getting us to a safer place where Sri Lanka cricket needs to be at. Yeah,
No,
questions being asked. So
yeah,
it's an
it's
interesting.
good, Bora. You need criticism as well. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, and it's good to see Promo there sticking to his guns. So maybe the captain and the others should do the same. But I'm gonna say this again. Still no news about a coach. So I don't know why this is taking so long. And
I think taking long is a easy answer because no one wants the job or no one that we feel is good enough is there. I mean, um, Simon Helmut was one guy who was shortlisted, but he's taken on a role with, I think it's the Royal Challengers now.
yeah,
So he's moved on very quickly. Shortlisted or candidates who did apply didn't get a response are moving on. They're not going to be waiting on other opportunities when Sri Lanka cricket advertised for a coaching role 6-7 months ago and still can't make a decision. So it's safe to say all those candidates have moved on. I'm not sure what Navid Nawaz is on. He was a local candidate there, but he's got appointments with the Bangladesh under 19. So
yeah.
um, he'll have a commitment to that port as well from that crew of coaches that I saw.
I don't know. Looks like we're gonna get a local coach appointed. That's my gut feeling. Yeah, shall we move to a few questions and comments, Bora, before we wrap
Yeah,
up?
happy for that. Let's see what the listeners have something in store. I've seen some of the questions. I'm happy for you to start. The first one, I'll take over the second one.
Yeah. So the first one is from Asanka from Manchester.
Yep.
Yeah. So this is some good news. Thanks for the tips and the keeping the umpire 8 feet from the stumps worked. Thank you so much. So this is Asanka who wanted to fix
Fast
his
ball
normal
in
problem.
14,
Yeah.
the masterclass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good. Now your season is coming up soon. So yeah, go out there and take some wickets. Now you don't have to worry about the no ball. Just worry about bowling from now on.
That's a good one. I just realized when you said the season's about to start, you'll be up and running to do it because it's a funny saying. I managed to keep track of these.
He's got a few more weeks. It's early
Yeah.
March, so
My saying is more for guys who struggle through a season. The saying goes, by the time I find out where my off stump is, the season's gone. So, so that's more of a batting one. So got to prepare early. Good signs for Asanka. Janit, we got a Colombo listener. You two are too kind to Lahiru Kumara. Can't be trusted to bowl in the death overs. He has proven that he can't handle the pressure and deliver. Kind as in we see a lot of potential in Lahiru Kumara. He's it's hard to bowl 140, 145 plus as a fast bowler, and that's natural
consistently.
pace that he has. What we have is a product that we can improve on. We've seen signs when he was in Australia, he managed to deliver when needed. Of course, there are times he'll go for runs. That's a fast ball who bowls at good speeds because edges, if the ball flies off the bat a lot further as well. But again, this is a guy who has potential to be used or be able to complement a guy like Dushmantha Chamira, where
Yeah.
Dushmantha Chamira can be used as a wicket-taking or match-winning bowler rather than do the donkey or the hard work, which Lahiru Kumar can do now. Bowl those hard, heavy lengths at
Yeah.
batters, unsettle them, whereas Dushmantha can get in and bowl where the wicket-taking options we need. Especially come with the World Cup being in Australia, this is a product that we have to play. I mean, if you want to give players a chance to learn and build, this is a guy I'm sure we're happy to spend another 20 games on so that he'll learn and be able to deliver. So, like the biggest example I can give is we had a super over against Australia, and all those players was the first time I feel they all were part of a super over where they'd be batting or bowling. They don't happen often. So they've been in tough situations. They got to learn it that hard way. No, I don't think we have any affiliation with Lahiru Kumar. Of course, he's a NCC boy. We do. He is a good prospect. Just come from our home teams, but the guy we feel has potential. I mean, outside these three, we can't think of a fast bowler who can come into this squad. That's what we are at the moment, struggling with the quicks.
Yeah. Well, you're right. I mean, he's done mistakes under pressure, but that's how you learn. You learn from those mistakes. And I saw a big improvement. Maybe Lasith Malinga had something to do with that as well, because he mixed it up. He bowled slow balls, and he missed the mark and went for a couple of sixes. Yes, that's right. But that's how you learn. That's how you learn. If you don't give them these opportunities, he's not going to learn. He must be doing it at training, at club level. He must be nailing those Yorkers, but at international level, that margin for error gets smaller. So, it's something you have to learn by doing it in that level. So I think he's a treasure. We have to, look after, give him some more time, and hopefully he'll come good. We'll move to the next one. Shaf from Pakistan. Love the podcast, guys. What's happening with Bhanuka and SLC? Seemed to me there's more to it than his skin folds. Is he connected to the ruling Rajapaksa family?
He should be playing if he's connected to that crew. So
I doubt he's connected to the family, but I don't know. I don't think anything else is going on. Just that the SLC and the selection committee, they're sticking to their guns about fitness standards. So I think something Bhanuka has to sort out. I don't know. That's what I think, but I don't know what else is going on. I have no idea.
Yeah, I think that's fair reflection. I mean, number one, if you're keeping your fitness standards or if you are performing exceptionally well, I'm sure there'll be tolerances there around. So it's a team that is, I don't think anyone's ahead of anyone a lot apart from Wanidu Hasaranga. Pathum Nisanka's touch form, Charit Asalanka's touch form, and then has going through a patch. Same can be said of everyone else from DDS all along. No one's like crazily, as an exceptional performer out there. This is a struggling team that we've had over a period of time and are showing small glimpses of development. And Bhanuka again is a lot of potential, very short career so far, and has a lot to offer in the right way. They are trying to in the media, there is a common chat about having to have a discipline players in within our camp. They tend to be ahead of the game. If we want to have that discipline process right along, it has to apply for everyone. So we can't suddenly change halfway down the track thinking, hang on, we need guys to perform. But it's a short-term view when unless you're a Virat Kohli, if you can score 100 every 5 games, and you're Rohit Sharma, who's dominates and calls for certain relaxing rules with your performing. I don't see we have 11 of players or squad of players who are in that seat at the moment.
Yeah.
To come back to whether there is something more than that, which have asked, having been a player as well as having gone through the systems, yes, there has to be something more than that as well. You never know. But from an outside point of view, we're thinking this is the fitness aspect or elements of it. It's the right approach, but we had so many instances in the past where certain differences, changes do come into play, and there have been a lot of period, time after time, there were certain incidents that happened that, I mean, we can't dwell on it, but we've moved on.
Yeah. Well, we'll put that question to our listeners. If you know something that we don't know, send us a message. We would like to know. I think that's a good place to wrap up, Bora. Keep sending your questions to srilankancricketpodcast@gmail.com and give us a follow in our socials as well. Come and say hi. Till next week. Have a good one.
Thanks. Cheers, everyone.